Hey, how's it going? Today, or in this video rather, we're gonna look at Revelation 13, which is probably the best known chapter in the Bible. And we're gonna jump down straight to verse 16, where he says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." Now, people wonder what this might be, and this is just my opinion, but it is pretty straightforward that this has to do with the microchip implant. There's no question in my mind, because in a cashless society, which we are heading towards real fast, and when we store all our money in an electronic form, then the microchip will provide an excellent tool for the system to control everybody. And I want to just show a few of the news that I found to highlight how close we really are in terms of the technology. Now we are going to focus in this section only news regarding the Bionic technology market, so to say, and in a second part we're going to look at where the RFID is at the moment, but I'm sure that even this part will prove to be very useful. So now here, this is newsdiscovery.com, and I wanted to start with this straight up because this would put to rest the part that the mark on the forehead cannot be a microchip or an implant, because it can be, and it already is, as you see here. And this is so-called bionic spine, and in this article says Obama explains bionic spinal cord to help paralyzed walk. And when you're going to see that tonight President Obama will continue his week-long stint as the guest presenter on the Science Channel. On Science Presents the News, the President of the United States will talk about new research from Australian scientists who have created a bionic spinal cord that could give paralyzed people the hope of walking again through the power of thought. This matchstick-sized device called stentrode is implanted in a blood vessel that sits over the brain. And this is what this system relies on. This is the size of a paper clip and is implanted in a blood vessel next to the brain. The stent-based electrode would record the brain activity needed for movement, and this would be translated into commands to control wheelchairs, exoskeletons, prosthetic limbs, and computers. So that's the power of thought, and you can, through this device, is to return function and mobility to patients with complete paralysis by recording brain activity and converting the acquired signals into electrical commands, which in turn would lead to movement of the limbs through a mobility assist device like an exoskeleton. Now that means that the technology is already here, which can transform thoughts and convert it into movement. And that makes one wonder if there's a technology that can control the thoughts through that device. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that wondering about this. And here you can see the research which will see the first in-human trial in 2017 was published Tuesday in Nature Biotechnology. Now what's interesting about this thing is that this technology works without the need for an open brain surgery based on research using sheep. So if you look at this, you might understand the mark of the beast on the forehead or in the right hand, because this thing just attaches to one's top of the head or the forehead. And that's quite scary, because in 2014, scientists in the United States said they had demonstrated how a monkey could use only its thoughts transferred by electrodes via a computer to manipulate the arm of a fully sedated fellow primate. So understand that that means that one monkey can control another one. So why couldn't that be another person? Now let's jump to The Guardian, which is the same story. Bionic spine could enable paralyzed patients to walk using subconscious thought. And it's the same guys showing the device. It's really tiny. It's only 30 millimeter. So that's about an inch, a little bit longer than an inch, a couple millimeter wide. And here you can see that Australian scientists hope that a tiny device, just 3 centimeters long and a few millimeters wide, will enable paralyzed patients to walk again by allowing them to control bionic limbs with the power of subconscious thought. And we saw that this is development supported by DARPA, and it's not only controlling devices, but also the monkey could control another monkey. So the person will be like a robot, pretty much. The new device, dubbed Bionic Spine, is the size of a small paperclip and will be implanted in 3 patients at the Royal Melbourne Hospital in Victoria next year. And doctors will make a tiny cut in the neck of the patient and feed a catheter containing the bionic spine up through the blood vessels leading into the brain until it rests on the top of the motor cortex, the part of the brain where nerve impulses that initiate voluntary muscle movements come from. And then the catheter will be removed. Just one more thing at the bottom. The device would be planted in the same place as this area of brain activity, he said, and if successful, could be refined to help patients with conditions like epilepsy, obsessive compulsive disorder, and Parkinson's disease. So they are selling this technology, as they always do, with the benefit and what it can help a person. But I hope that you can read between the lines and see how dangerous this really is. Okay, now here, this is still The Guardian, and you can see why DARPA is so excited about all this technology, I'm sure. Mind control robotic suit to debut at World Cup 2014. A paraplegic Brazilian will don exoskeleton for tournament opening ceremony in first public display of possible wheelchair replacement. So that's where we are at the moment. Now take a look at this in a little bit more detail. The operator's feet rest on plates, which have sensors to detect when contact is made with the ground. With each footfall, a signal shoots up to a vibrating device, soon into the forearm of the wearer's shirt. The device seems to fool the brain into thinking that the sensation came from their foot. In virtual reality simulations, patients felt that their legs were moving and touching something. So basically, the sensors here will catch the vibration of every footfall and transmit it to the brain, and the brain will think that it's walking. Now, you see that cap, which soon I'm sure will be replaced by the bionic spine that we already know about from the previous couple of articles. And then you can see, if this is so crude at the moment, what they're showing us, it's pretty sure that the technology, it's probably 20-30 years ahead of this. And that would put it right where I believe we see in the Iron Man movies. And I might be a little bit too optimistic, but I'm sure if we see in this, which is pretty phenomenal, then the technology is not where we see this. That's pretty obvious. Now, this down here says, quote, "This is something that will happen and needs to happen. Humans are very good at high-level decisions and making sense of ambiguous situations, but robots are very good at very precise, repetitive, accurate movements. Exoskeletons are the way to marry these together." Now, whether it is the way or it is not, I would just point to this Bible verse, which is Daniel 2nd chapter, and then we are going to look at 42 all the way down to 44. "And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of man, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay." And clay means the human body, and iron means obviously all this bionic technology. All. So this is CNN.com, the bionic skin that can feel a tumor. And as you see, these scientists imagine then a scene where skin could communicate what's going on inside a human body. It could inform surgeons, provide alerts when our body is about to fall ill, or even diagnose diseases inside another human being simply through the sense of touch. And this is from University of Tokyo, Takao Someya, the person that just gave us that little interaction. And Someya has invented a bionic or electronic skin, e-skin, with the potential to bestow amazing new powers of sensitivity upon humans. It is as light as a feather, yet almost indestructible, and could one day change the field of medicine. And you see the merging of humans and machine. When looking at these photos, it's hard not to wonder if this could be the number of his name. Because obviously the mark of the beast in the right hand of the forehead could be the microchip on what we saw, that little spiral thing implanted. But this could easily be just something that you place on the skin, on the surface, and manipulate a person just the same way as you would implant the mark without the actual process. Now, it is very interesting as he's talking about this thing in terms of how they use it or how they would use it. So let's just take a look at that. So the future of healthcare. Samaya is striving for a future where doctors wearing a bespoke glove made from his technology could detect a tiny tumor hiding inside a woman's breast simply by feeling it. This would reduce the need for referrals and scans and could potentially detect tumors earlier during routine checks. The possibilities are vast. These wearable e-skins, either tattooed onto our bodies or sewn into our clothes, could also be used to monitor our vital signs and even help medics predict future heart attacks by monitoring heart signals. Samaya plans to make this happen within the next few years. However, this vision of his began with robots, not humans. Imagine this futuristic scene where a robot shaking hands with someone could detect their emotion, like passion or sorrow. Creating e-skins for robots, he thought, would be a new research trend outside the saturated area of more commercial electronics, which at the time either focused on miniaturization or making machines faster. That was 15 years ago. And obviously today this vision seems far less futuristic when compared to the technology he has since pioneered. Now this article goes on to detail after that the potentials for this technology, and I guess it won't surprise you that it does not list military at all, and that is just pretty crazy because something that can detect a ring on its surface and even detect a heart failure in a rat. Surely DARPA and the military paying close attention to this kind of development. And as you see, indeed, you can attach to the skin. And you can get into the transhumanism with the rise of the super sensitive humans that will make several groups really excited, because the potential to this thing is just limitless. Now I leave it to you to check this out on CNN.com, but nonetheless I think this is just one step closer to the mark of the beast. And to stick to the similar technology, check this out. Bionic fingertip offers feeling. Let's just see. European researchers developed artificial fingertip that provides tactile feedback to user. Amputee Dennis Abel Sorensen took part in a clinical trial and had nerves surgically connected to the bionic fingertip, allowing him to experience feeling and distinguish between various surfaces. Right, that basically means that they can stimulate the nerves inside the body artificially. So that leads us back to the same issue we had with the or bionic spine, that the process is a two-way process. It's not only one can use their thoughts to command technology, but other way around. Now, if all this wasn't crazy enough, then you will have to see this thing. So, the man with the amazing arm, 26-year-old, has futuristic limb that includes phone charger, torch, and even a drone. James Young's life changed in a freak accident when he fell under a train. 26 London damaged his left arm and left leg was severed. Became part cyborg in experiment fitting him with prototype bionic arm. If you have not seen it, then you just have to get ready, right? So this was 4 years ago. He sustained multiple injuries, and now James, then 22, and working as a biological scientist, had been about to board a Docklands light rail in East London for a night out with friends. And that's when the injury happened. Check this out, what he looks like now. Right? So that's the bionic arm. They can charge a phone. You got a drone built in it, and whatever you want. Now, this goes on to describe the accident, and then after that, how he was taken to the hospital. And now, this is what this arm looked like. This is a 60 grand bionic arm, and it looks pretty crazy. So now, he spent 3.5 months in hospital, and then obviously he went on to have this surgery. What's interesting here is that they go on to say that James, a video games fan who uses his good right arm to play, answered an online advertisement from gaming company Konami, which was looking for an amputee interested in road testing a futuristic limb. So you see how subtle the way the entertainment gaming industry sells you the idea that it would be cool to be a Superman, because all the movies are about that, all the games are about that. And this article goes on to say that the robotic hand was made by a 3D printer, and standard NHS prosthetic arms have a hook or a pincer-like gripper. And this is just something out of this world. So this is on dailymail.co.uk, and I definitely suggest that you wanna check this out, because here it says, I didn't want to look like the Terminator because my job involves talking to doctors about the drugs they use. Well, but he did end up looking like that, didn't he? And I always go back in my head and remember the films that I've seen, and I just can't help wondering that this means that 20, 30 years prior to actually the thing getting into mainstream, you already see it in a movie, and that means that's already there. So now you know why technology sped up so fast these days, because it's already there. They're just throwing it out whenever they want it. So the things that we see in the movies like Iron Man or RoboCop, I think that means that technology is already there, and it will roll out in a moment when the New World Order is ready. And I think there's not much left that they need to accomplish. So check this out. Let's move on to BBC.com. Soldier Andrew Garthwaite's Mind Control Bionic Op. This is an article about the first British serviceman injured in battle to use a new bionic arm. Andrew Garthwaite's story has already been remarkable. But this week he underwent 6 hours of surgery at a hospital in Austria, at the new start of a process to make it even more so, to prepare him to be fitted with an arm he will be able to control with his brain. So this is along the same lines as the other ones, and obviously there's details of that in this article. What's interesting is that in the 6-hour operation that Professor Oscar Assmann and his team worked out, which of the mass of tiny nerves from his shoulder joint operated his arm and hand. Once they isolated those, they rewired them into his chest. Now, just remember that guy, because he does a lot of these surgeries, and you might come across that name later on. Now, after his complex, remarkable surgery, Garthwaite will soon feel a hand on his chest, his own hand. And as the nerve endings grow, he too will be able to operate his bionic limb by simply thinking about those hand and arm movements. We're going to move on from here, and we're going to check out the Alton Towers crash victim and see how her life has been transformed by bionic leg. If you ever heard about this accident at Alton Towers, there was this roller coaster just fell apart, and this article goes to say that Alton Towers crash victim says bionic leg has transformed her life. Vicky Balch, who had her right leg amputated after roller coaster accident, walks with prosthesis on live TV, and this is her on ITV showing off that artificial leg. So I just wanted to show that in the media and news, you will always hear about how marvelous these things are, and to a certain degree, one can only agree, because it definitely changes one's life. However, rarely it is in mainstream what the real reason for all this, and that is military use. There's no question about that, because the coming police state will utilize all these technologies that we looked at in order to control the remaining population after the wars. Let's move on and look at BBC.com again, where you can read Bionic Hand for Elective Amputation Patient. This is about an Austrian man has voluntarily had his hand amputated so he can be fitted with a bionic limb. He had a motorcycle accident, and since then he has a hardship using his hand. And you can see that same professor, Oscar Assmann, from Vienna, making this possibility. But actually, that we are already programmed to be accustomed to these things through entertainment, and now they are pushing this very, very hard in music as well as superhero movies. So that will really make you wonder what they are getting ready for. Now, this one is on a similar note. A woman considers hand removal for bionic replacement. Again, BBC.com. Nicola Walding, 35, lost the use of her right arm in a car crash 12 years ago. Nerve transplants have returned some movement to her upper arm, but she's been told she'll never be able to use her hand again. Now, Oscar Assmann from Vienna again, and her will help her because she's actively considering having her hand cut off and replaced with a bionic prosthesis. And the article goes on to detail that. So if you're interested, take a look. Then now we are going to move on and check out this article which says plastic heart gives dead Matthew Green new lease of life. 40-year-old father who was dying from heart failure is set to leave hospital after receiving an artificial heart. And you can check out the whole article obviously on bbc.com, as around 900 similar operations have been carried out around the world already. And it's going to revolutionize my life, he says. Before I couldn't walk anywhere. I could hardly climb a flight of stairs, and now I've been up and I've been walking out and getting back to a normal life. He went out for a pub lunch over the weekend that just felt fantastic to be with normal people again. Again, you are sold the benefit of technology and how marvelous it can change people's lives, but rarely it is mentioned that how can it be used to oppress that very life. Okay. And let's just shift gears and jump into something different, a tiny bit different, and that's going to be the bionic eye, which Google has patented a design for a bionic eye. And I think anything that Google's involved is not a good sign. The patent describes an electronic lens implanted into the eye that can reshape itself to form needed to treat vision issues. Google has filed a patent for a vision-correcting electronic device that would see the human eye's natural lens replaced with an electronic lens implant. If this is something that you want to take some time on, I would definitely suggest you check out the article. We're just gonna read this one paragraph. Discovery magazine reports that the cyborg eye implant would potentially have the ability to change its shape and adjust the wearer's vision by using technology such as liquid crystals, micro mirrors, and tiny microfluidic pumps. It could also be fitted with additional lenses to help fix eyesight problems such as nearsightedness or astigmatism. And there you go, so you got Google involved in this bionic eye business. So here, in this next article from The Guardian, British woman with bionic eye speaks of joy after reading clock for first time in years. And she's the first person outside Germany to be fitted with implant to restore sight after retinitis pigmentosa left her virtually blind. See, it's all about happiness, and I'm not saying this is not a good thing, that a blind woman fitted with a bionic eye has spoken of her joy after she was able to tell the time for the first time in more than 6 years. Check out the rest of the article. And then you'll see again how the benefit, like a good salesman, always sell the benefit. And this is exactly what they do. They go on to say here, Lois is completely blind in her right eye and has virtually no vision in her left eye. The implant, made by German firm Retina Implant AG, was placed in Lois' eye in June in an operation that can last 6 to 8 hours. During follow-up tests, Lois was asked to look at a large cardboard clock to see whether she can tell the time. She had not been able to tell the time with her right eye in 16 years, or with her left eye for about 6 years. And you saw what just happened. So there's another example how they selling the benefit to you of a technology. And there's another great example, BGR.com. Bionic eye restores man's vision after being blind for 40 years. Now you see how Google's involved this Bionic eye business, and Google's involved in everything pretty much. And I think with the use of the AI and all the technology that we've been through, they'll be able not only to create robots that be superhuman, but also they be able to control humans who have the mark of the beast. In this article, you'll read about John Jameson, who might not have believed in miracles a year ago, but breakthroughs in modern science have made certain that he does now. So again, modern science makes the miracles possible. The Tatum, Texas man had been blind for over 40 years after an aggressive infection ended up taking his vision. Jameson would eventually come to terms with his disability and make the best of the situation. But he now has a new outlook on life, literally. After a revolutionary surgery involving bionic eye implant restored his vision earlier this year. And that's going to be your bionic lens again. And we're going to move on and check out this, which is crazy. I'm telling you. And so here, I believe this is Edinburgh, and it must be Scotland. So the man with a bionic penis will lose his virginity to a dominatrix who run for parliament. And this is independent, but you know, I mean, this is a news in a magazine. So this is a man whose penis was ripped off in a road accident and who has subsequently received surgery to fit an 8-inch bionic penis, is to lose his virginity to an award-winning dominatrix who unsuccessfully ran for parliament. Yeah, I know you wonder if this is a reality, but I think this shows a lot of things. A, how technology is advanced, and B, how dumbed down people are all over the world, where a dominatrix would run for parliament, and this makes the news to this degree. So this Mohammed Abad from Edinburgh was run over 6 years old, when he was 6 years old in Huddersfield, 78, and that's when he lost his penis. Now, again, I just wanted to show you another example how technology is developing. And now again, I would definitely take counsel from the Bible. Daniel again, in the 2nd chapter, 40th verse. And the 4th kingdom shall be strong as iron, forasmuch as iron breaketh in pieces, and subdueth all things. And as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay, and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of iron, forasmuch as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And that means that you cannot mess with the human biology. Through faith, we can heal ourselves to a certain degree, but at some point, everybody has to accept what God's given to them. And what we just have seen in these articles, I think, is the spirit of rebellion and not accepting God's judgment and what our part in this game that we call life. Alright, we have a few more, and this is Live Science. You get bionic hearing with new smart earbuds. If you have ever been on a crowded bus and found yourself stuck between a loud conversation on one side and obnoxiously loud music on the other, the idea of being able to cancel out the background noise probably sounds like bliss. Now, new earbuds can not only help boost your hearing and cancel out pesky noise, but also serve as wireless earphones for making phone calls and listening to music hands-free. So you can be a superhuman again. And this is just one of them. We're going to check out another one, which is time.com. And these earbuds will give you bionic super hearing and hear music and other sounds like never before. Again, we've been through a lot of other bionic body hack things, and as you see, this is quite tempting, but then you will have to ask the question, where and when do you stop? You have bionic hearing now, super hearing. Then you will have bionic contact lenses, or you can chop your hand off and have super hands. And you see, this is now mainstream because you have the Coachella Festival. Its latest tech is bionic hearing. So in that festival, attendees at this year's Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival will be the first festival goers to have the opportunity to use a wireless in-ear audio system called Hear. The earbuds, which have been dubbed bionic hearing, gives users control over outside noises, perfect for silencing the drunk person who keeps singing along. In this festival, people will be able to purchase this system, earbud system, and they have presets for certain stages, so they can engage much better. And it is very fascinating indeed to watch this unfold so quickly before our eyes. But on the other hand, I think it's very alarming how naively people just walk straight into that trap when they want to explore all these technology without understanding that we were not meant to become Iron Man and Superman and Batman, but more so happy with what we have, because that's exactly part of the challenge of life, and that's what the Most High gave us. So if you find yourself unhappy in your skin or in your situation, then you need to find time to study the Bible and make peace with that sort of your circumstances, because this is where God, or the Most High God, wanted you to be. And there's a reason why He put you into that situation. As you can see in Psalm 19th chapter, make me to go in the path of thy commandment, for therein do I delight. Incline my heart unto thy testimonies, and not to covetousness. Turn away mine eyes from beholding vanity, and quicken thou me in thy way. So your and my role in this world is to follow the commandments and to go in the Most High's way and execute what He wants us to do, not what we want to be doing. Now, how this connects to this topic is pretty straightforward. As I explained. So check this out. This is endocrine news on endocrine.org. Bringing the bionic pancreas to the presidential plenary. After years of research and trials, could the bionic pancreas finally be ready to hit the market? Diabetes is a perennial area of research in endocrinology, but scientists are now on the precipice of a new era of treatment options. To introduce some of the most revolutionary advances, the Presidential Plenary at Endo 2016 in Boston is focusing on technology and delivery breakthroughs in diabetes. If it's interest to you, check this out. This is bionic pancreas. And treating a disease, a so-called disease, diabetes, which isn't even a disease. This is a lifestyle disease. This is down to lack of physical activity, bad diet, lack of hydration, rest, and too much stress. So all these issues, if one could improve, then their diabetes would improve majorly. And this is just shows, and I'm going to prove it later on, how medical science is a business which is there to sell you products, and the bionic pancreas is just another product of that. Now, if we jump and take a look at this page, which is Create the Future Design Contest 2016, and this talks about an issue that might occur even to you. So life of an electronic device depends on its battery life. Wireless charging propels the limits of bionic electronics to be eternal. Bionic devices' organs has a limited lifetime where its battery needs to be replaced in order for it to function continually. Now they have an idea for that, and you can check that out. This is wireless charging, which you already sold on that because you already have wireless phone charging. So subtly they just introduced it already, and now they're selling another benefit of that. So that's how technology becomes part of life, and in a course of time it will be completely accepted by the population. This is the European Society for Artificial Organs, and I highly recommend you take a look. You have a journal of artificial organs, and an international journal of artificial organs, and there's loads of information where they are at the moment. And now we're going to bring this home with this next and last article. Global Artificial Organ Bank Market 2016 Forecast Analysis Growth Rate up to 2020. So there is a artificial organ bank market, and this is no different from anything else that is a market. This is out there to produce money. So we all know that an artificial organ is a man-made device that is implanted human body to replace a natural organ for the purpose of restoring specific functions so that patient may return to normal life as soon as possible. Now here, increase in prevalence of heart disorders coupled with increasing population and increase in injuries and accidents are the drivers contributes for the growth of the market for artificial organs. Growing demand for diagnostics while advanced technology is expected to fuel the market growth in coming years. Now, however, high cost of devices and scarcity surgical expertise are expected to be major restraint of this market. I can't help but make that comparison to Repo Man, the Repo Man, and this. And again, you see that we are constantly told what's coming and what to expect from the future. We just have been blinded up till recently. But now this has changed. And now we can see the reality for what it is. Furthermore, on this side, you can see that the report segments the artificial organ bank market on the basis of product type, technology, and geography. Now the product types, this is crazy even to just read, but this is what it is, right? Artificial pancreas, lungs, kidney, heart, liver, and bionics. Now you have bionics like vision, cardiac bionic, hearing, brain, whatnot, on the basis of geography, and this is quite interesting. Obviously you got the continents, and then you got the countries. So in order to give the users of this report a comprehensive view on the artificial organ bank market, they have ranked the areas and figured that North America was leading region, which accounted for largest share of total market, and closely followed by Europe. I mean, this is not a wonder, is it, that in Latin America or Asia or Africa, where people are oppressed, there's not much market for this. Only, I guess, the super rich. And then you got some prominent companies playing part in this artificial organ market. Berlin Heart, Second Sight Medical Products, Boston Scientific Corporation, Biomed, Asahi Kasei, Kurai Medical, LifeNet Health, Hardware International, and Abiomed Incorporated. This is worth checking it out because this have been predicted in Repo Man, and this was a remake. The first Repo Man is from the 80s. Now I'd like to close with Psalm 10th chapter, where it says, "The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetous. whom the Most High abhorreth. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after the Most High. God is not in all his thoughts. And with that, I wish you that you see through the deception of becoming a superhuman, and you will see God and make peace with him and let him to use you as a vessel for the Holy Spirit and fulfill the purpose that he designed for you and not the purpose you designed and desired for yourself. So blessing.